Who is Georgia going to play in the SEC championship game, Matt?
Well, I think we both just talked about it before press and play. We're going to pencil Georgia in the East. Maybe a little too early, but we're going to do it because they're the Dogs and they're the best team in the East, and I don't see them not winning the East. Georgia's in the East. Dean said in another video he still thinks Alabama is going to win the West. Alabama did not play very well today. They are squeaking by these games. Those fans are not real thrilled. They're living on the edge. 4-point win against Arkansas. LSU is not the team we thought they were going to be, Ryan. I think Texas A&M is still in the mix. Auburn, I think, is done. I think Ole Miss is still in the mix. There's a lot of teams that could still win in the West that I know of. There are games still going on now, so this could look really bad on us.
We might be dumb.
We might be dumb when you're watching this because we don't know exactly when this is going.
But when we said these things,
we were 100%
there were different
right.
circumstances.
Yes. Who do you think, I guess, is the best team in the West, Ryan? And I guess who do you think you see winning it right now?
I hesitate to say it's Alabama. I think it's going to be them in the end. I thought that they were getting a little bit better, but struggled a little bit today with Arkansas. They cannot move the ball. There is no intermediate football to their game. Yeah. It's chuck it over the top or just pound the rock or have Jalen Miller scramble around. I think LSU can outscore them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think LSU. Where is that game? That will determine a little bit for me. Is that at night in Baton Rouge?
I don't know what the time is.
Because my preseason pick at Media Days, I voted for LSU to win the West because I thought that's what's going to happen. That game, I forget where that is.
I thought they won it in Baton Rouge at night last year. It was the last play of the game. I'm trying to think of where it was.
It was overtime. I just cannot remember where it was. Where's your phone? I can Google.
My phone? Here you go. While we talk, let me get this passcode in for you. I say that the West is up for grabs, and then just but then I remember that Alabama already has wins over Texas A&M and Ole Miss, so it looks like they are, the clear front runner.
Is it possible for LSU to win the West?
They have losses.
It's at Tuscaloosa.
They have 2 losses, one to Florida State and one to...
So they only have 1 league loss.
Correct. So they're still in it.
So they're very much still in it. And if they beat Alabama, they would. I think that would be it. But that's in Tuscaloosa. Yeah. Alabama's got a good defense. They do. It's solid. They've got guys, but
they're struggling offensively.
It's just not great. They just don't have the personnel. I knew that they were not going to be as good on offense. When you just take Bryce Young away from that situation, I mean, that's pretty much what happened. For the most part, they kept most of their guys.
And the running backs don't scare anyone. The receivers don't scare anyone.
You know what? How many running backs scare people anymore? That position is getting devalued and devalued. How many?
Even at the college level.
At the college level, I mean, it's by committee at the college level. How many running backs in the SEC really scare you right now? Because Ray Davis didn't scare Georgia.
No, and there is no Todd, Nick, or Sony out there at running back. And I mean, those come to mind because they played for Georgia, but there's no Darren McFadden, who I saw run through Georgia in 2005. Yeah. My buddy asked me the other day, he was like, what are some of the best college football players you've ever seen play? Todd Gurley, Joe Burrow, and Darren McFadden might be my top 3.
That's an interesting top 3. Is Brock Bowers not one of those?
Brock Bowers is. I guess guys who have are
gone.
That are gone. But Brock Bowers absolutely should be in that conversation. But I think you might be right there at running back, and
that's a big part of Alabama's offense.
Yeah,
and
Chase McClellan's fine.
He's good. They've got depth. Like we think that Justin Haynes is good. RJ Young, I think, has looked pretty solid when he's played. Is that his name, RJ Young?
Richard Young. He could go by RJ. I don't know.
Is that he might be an RJ?
Might be an RJ.
We'll have to check in with that check in with you about that, Richard.
Let's go about the teams that are still in. Obviously, Alabama, Texas A&M, and LSU. Does Ole Miss have a shot? If they lose to Georgia,
I just don't think that they can beat Georgia and Athens, and that would be
fully eliminate them.
If they haven't lost another game when they get there, then that would be their second SEC loss.
Yeah.
So
Alabama still has LSU, Auburn. They beat Mississippi State. They beat Arkansas today. They beat A&M.
They still got Ole Miss. Correct?
They beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss was a fraud that game. They didn't do much of anything. I think that may have been the UAB week. I remember because
Oh, that was Ole Miss's one loss. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I picked Ole Miss to cover, and they made me look like a fool. Doesn't happen often, but they made me look
I don't
like a
know.
fool.
We've been looking like fools.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about our picks record
Today. We only picked later games today, so we're still up in the air. But
well, we lost
we
Georgia
both
today.
lost Georgia today.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
this team doesn't care about the spread. They care about winning.
They haven't
and
cared
moving
about the
on.
spread for a while.
No, they're not Penn State. They're not Penn State. That might be another video down the road. Maybe an off-season video.
It's Alabama, I think, is the favorite to come out of the West. I've thought that they were getting better and better. Today, I just didn't feel like I saw improvement from what just the clips I saw. I did not watch the game straight up, so I can't tell you what happened in detail. But if it does end up being Alabama and Georgia, I think Dean said he'd think that'd be like a 10-point game, that Georgia would win in that range.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's not a. Auburn was able to run with the quarterbacks on Georgia. Now, one of those runs was 60-something yards, and you can do the same thing even if you want to look at Georgia's stat line and see that they had like 2 60-something yard runs or something like that. But
I feel like
he can run around and make some plays on Georgia's defense.
I feel like other defenses have been able to contain Jalen Milroe in recent weeks. Listen, if Arkansas can hold them to less than 30, and Alabama if they're struggling this bad every single week, there's no reason why Georgia's defense, with Will Muschamp coaching them up, and Kirby and Glenn Schumann, why they shouldn't have a plan that should work as well as any plan they put together all week. I mean, like you said, it's not like Alabama does so many things well offensively, because he can't throw the ball accurately. He can run, and they can run with the backs a little bit, and every once in a while he'll have this beautiful throw down the field, right? He can give you about 1 or 2 of those a game. But it seems like this is as easy of an Alabama team to prepare for than they have in recent memory. So I do think you'd have to like Georgia's chances. But like we said in another video, that defense is going to have to keep improving. They can't be at a stalemate and just play like this the rest of the season. They're going to have to keep improving. And Kirby, one of the themes of this season, he says we have to be elite at getting better. They did not get better from Kentucky to Vanderbilt. But if they're elite at getting better, that's bad news for everyone else, because they're going to be very good if they continue to improve and get better, especially at an elite level.
Yeah, look, you can score on this Georgia defense. Alabama can score on this Georgia defense. I think LSU would be able to score. I think LSU can score on anybody's defense. If they are able to contain Jalen Milroe, I think we're talking about not a close game between Georgia and Alabama.
Ooh.
That would be my take there. If they contain Jalen Milroe and he's not running around, you make him stay in the pocket and have to play straight up quarterback.
Would that
It's
would
not
be
happening.
That'd be the best defense that Carson Beck in the offense would go up against, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, who's the best defense they've played so far? Is it Auburn?
Is it Auburn? Yeah,
And Georgia got hotter as it went on.
What are they? They're an above-average defense.
I think Georgia, at the times that they haven't looked good on offense this year, at the times that they haven't scored, has had way more to do with them than it's had to do with the other team's defense.
I can see that.
So I don't know that they played a defense really close to as good as Alabama's.
Yeah.
Who's the toughest defense left on the regular season schedule?
It's not Ole Miss.
Is it Florida?
It's not Missouri.
I mean,
it might be Florida, or
is it going up to Knoxville, Tennessee? I mean,
that'll be the toughest environment, and it could be the best defense. Those guys play hard. There's some talent on that defense. There's no alphas, but alphas are few and far between, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it looks and kind of feels like it is going to be Alabama to win the West again. But they've been real close of getting knocked off and thrown to the side. We'll see what they can do against their remaining opponents, LSU, Auburn, and who? I know I'm missing a couple. I have to be.
For Bama?
Yeah, the remaining schedule. Tennessee next week. That could be. That's in Tuscaloosa, I believe. So who knows? Maybe Tennessee.
That is in Tuscaloosa.
pushes them.
It is
Yeah.
in Tuscaloosa. Because you remember what happened last year up in Knoxville?
Yep.
I I'm pointing because we're in Tennessee right now.
That'll be a game
will
that
be interesting.
Georgia fans can watch all the games next week. It's a loaded group of
Joe Milton and
high-profile games.
Jalen Milrow.
Could be ugly, but could be fun.
That could be a QB disaster.
That could be a fun, ugly game. Yeah, that's what we think. But we're penciling Georgia in. Georgia's going to win the East. Sorry if that triggers anyone, but Nostradamus in the car. Probably Georgia, Bama.
Probably. Right. Newsletter.
Newsletter.